What's it, my people? You know it is a Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And this one is True Detective Night Country Episode 2 Breakdown. A lot happened in this episode. We got a lot of information. Let's get right into it. First, we're going to start off with these bodies. When they first thaw out these bodies, we can see that there are ruptured eardrums all on the bodies. Now, cold temperatures are not typically associated with ruptured eardrums. That is not to say it could not happen, but there would probably have to be something wrong with your eardrum prior to the incident for the cold weather to do that. Most ruptures usually occur during physical trauma, i.e. somebody sticking something in their ear and then rupturing the eardrum, or when the pressure changes drastically around the ear, like if somebody was scuba diving and the pressure changed and they broke their eardrum. We also see that all the bodies that we find outside are all 100% naked. Now we know it's freezing out there, so for somebody to run outside butt-ass naked, you know they had to truly be scared, especially to put their cold little feet on those ices. Now, one of the shocking things that happened this episode is while Wilson was examining the body, he grabbed one of the guy's arm in the forearm and then it broke off and he began to scream. And we found out that one of the people that were inside of this mansicle, or whatever they were calling it inside the show, right? The bodysicle, we found out that one of those people were still alive, right? And they got that person all the way back to the hospital, but they put him in a coma, so there's no way to interrogate him at this time. They have problems with the bodies because we have other agencies that want to take it. So this is when we have our heroine go and take the bodies and put them in the ice hockey rink so that they can keep them there until they thaw. They have 48 hours to thaw out. That way she maintains control of these bodies and maintains control of the crime scene, basically for the next 48 hours, trying to investigate everything that's going on. During this time, we find out exactly what the scientists were up to, why they were out there, and why it was so important for them to be out there in this cold weather. So they were trying to sequence the DNA of an extinct microorganism that could stop cellular decay. Now, they're saying that if they were able to pull this off, this could cure cancer, this can cure a bunch of other diseases, but it also can cause what I think is actually going on in this situation and has affected some of the people in town and the polar bear and other things that we see that is happening from the water situation. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Looking at the bodies, we can see that one of them has self-inflicted bite wounds, and it seems that they were trying to climb on top of each other to get away from something. Now they start to speculate what could make them run away, what would make them so afraid. Could it be a polar bear? We've seen polar bears in this show where they're getting chased by a polar bear and trying to climb on top of each other to get away from the polar bear. Not likely. It must be something else that's going on than just a polar bear doing it. Again, when we see the questions that they ask, they say, you're not asking the right questions. We hear that in this show all the time when we ask simple questions, the ones that just everyone that the show is trying to tell you what it is. Those are the questions not to ask. The questions to ask are the harder ones that will really get us to the bottom of exactly what's going on with these scientists and why they were murdered. In this episode, we also find out exactly what happened to Annie. Not totally what happened to Annie, but we find out how she's connected to this whole story. So this is my theory on how I think everything planned out. Clark was sleeping with Annie. He didn't want anyone to find out he was sleeping with Annie. Obviously, he was living with a bunch of dudes, so that's why he rented that trailer, so he can go off and have sex with her up in that piece. She's the one who had the tattoo. He admired the tattoo. She got killed by one of the dudes in there who was wearing the pink jacket. Now, why she was killed? She was protesting a lot of different things for the mine. We don't know exactly if that's the reason, but it seems like it could be the reason. She was killed. He felt bad, and this drove him over the deep end. We know that he was out there talking to himself. He was walking around butt naked all the time, but none of the other scientists said anything to him about it. They just allowed him to act crazy. So he goes and gets the exact same tattoo that she had and puts it on his heart because he was so much in love with this chick. So when they finally go inside the trailer, we can see a couple of things in there. It looks like some sacrifices with some animals were in there. It also looks like some type of voodoo dolls, but we also see a large symbol of what he is using to represent her on top of the ceiling, and then a body inside of a bed. Now it seems like this person, Clark, who they were talking about the whole time, was just onto some witchcraft type stuff, but I don't think so. I think he found a way to get this microorganism and has used it. In the first episode, we do see a flash of somebody running by really fast where they never got back. Now, we hear somebody in this episode say that they did see somebody up there, but they weren't sure if they exactly seen somebody up there. When the bodies actually do thaw out and they count them up, they can see that they're short a body, and they can see that the body that they're short is Clark, and they say that Clark is still alive. They make it a point again to tell us again that the water is bad, so much so that we see a fight inside of a bar, right? That the guy is mad that the water came out black and it's all messed up. Now, a lot of times they're going to blame the local mine because that's what it would seem like is doing something bad to this water. But it's not the mine. I believe it was the scientists with their digging and them finding these microorganisms. Now again, these microorganisms that they are researching are there to stop cellular decay. If you were able to stop cellular decay, basically you could stop people from aging, right? You'd be able to reverse the aging process, as long as also cure all the diseases that they're talking about. So if somebody was presumed dead, that you thought was dead, and you were able to stop cellular decay, you may be able to lengthen their life. As we have seen with this pile of bodies, there's no way that the person inside that pile of bodies, with everything frozen around them, should still be alive unless they had that microorganism inside of their body and allowed them to slow down the decay of their body, allowing them to live. And that's exactly what's going on with Clark. That's why Clark is still out there and he's still alive, because he has maybe a full dose of this. Maybe the town is getting a little bit of dose, and maybe that's why the polar bear was out there the way he was, because he's also drinking in the water, and it could be feeding into the water supply. Again, they're digging holes inside the ice melts, it gets into the water. That's when we have this problem. Real quick, we do get the last name of Travis. A lot of people have speculated that it would be Cole. It turns out that it is Cole, so it does seem like this is connected to season 1. And I don't think it really is in that aspect. I think that they're just giving you hints of season 1 by connecting a few characters to each other from season 1. I don't think you directly need to watch season 1 to understand exactly what's going on in this season. But I do think it's a good Easter egg for people to have if they haven't watched season 1. Now, we do hear them say the same word, she's here. We keep hearing that. She's here, she's here. Who is here? I think the only person they could be talking about is Annie. Annie must be there. And how can Annie be there after she was beat up and we've seen the body and we've seen everything else? I mean, I'm going to have to say it has to have something to do with this microorganism. I mean, that would be the only way. If somehow he was able to extract some type of DNA from her. We've seen that there was a body laid out in the bed. I mean, it sounds far-fetched and it sounds crazy, but that could be the only thing that I could think of why they would all say she is here. Now, if you have a theory about that, please put it in the comment section and let me know. The only thing I could think of is that somehow Clark is, I hate to say resurrected her, but somehow Clark has brought this woman back to life, or some type of form of her back to life. And now she's going around with Clark and she's going around killing these motherfuckers. And that, when we look at the bodies, we can see that, number one, they were all scared to death, right? They ran outside scared to death. If they did kill her, which I do believe the dude in this jacket did kill her, right? And this chick came back to life and was hunting them, that would make you scared like that. Now, the ruptured eardrums, again, could be a high-pitched sound, could be something stabbed inside of your ear that caused that, could be a scream of some type that she may be able to project. But whatever it was, it scared them enough that they were trying to crawl on top of each other to get away. A zombie woman, a woman back from the dead that you done killed, then yes, that would definitely make you scared like that. And that would definitely, put the fear of God in you and make you want to run away into the cold after you know exactly what you did to her. Again, when I look at the water situation and being contaminated, I think that them using the coal mines is just to throw you off of exactly what's going on. You would think that it would be the coal mines, you would think that it's their fault, that all this bad stuff is happening to the water, but in the end, it's going to be these scientists and them digging for bad stuff in the end, and that's what's causing all of this commotion. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to tie in a lot of these Alaskan beliefs with, people coming back from the dead and people, spirits reaching out to you in the Travis situation, them guiding her to the bodies, and him actually doing a dance. It would look like a dance, but really was people drowning, and really exactly what was happening to them, do it out, and how she was able to find him. I think that they're using that to try to explain how she got there, but that's not exactly what's going on. I think when you hear the references of people of the death and all that stuff, it's because this molecule, whatever you want to call it, this bioorganism that they found, has done some extension of life. And somehow, crazily enough, this Clark has made Annie into some type of zombie and brought her back to life. Now, I know it sounds nuts. If you go in the comment section and say, Tony Teflon, you're out of your mind, go right ahead. Go right ahead. But this is what I'm leaning towards. This is exactly what I think is going on in this show right now. And I'll be the first one to tell you that it sounds nuts. But in the end, I think it's going to be right. I'm going to give my boy Phil the Issues Guy. We're going to do a live stream this week, and we'll talk more in depth when we have more time to really pick through every scene. But I just wanted to go through the most important things to me of solving this show, and I think I touched on all those situations. I could talk about the kid getting smacked by his father and how his father's getting played by this chick who he's just sending money to, and she ain't got no interest in coming to see his dumb ass. Could go into all that, but to me, the most important thing is solving this case. We can talk about all that other stuff during the live stream, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? Thumbs up this video so it gets spread out there. I truly need your help to get this out there, and how you do it is you leave a comment and you thumbs up the video. That will trigger the algorithm and tell them that this is a good video and that other people should watch it. I need your help. Please help a brother out. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.